This is Richard back at you. Hey guys, this is a Monday, no, it's a Tuesday, isn't it, Teresa? My days are already lost. I'm telling you, this week's been so busy. But we got Mr. Early's 350 training in the house. Now we done this training here a long time ago. I believe we went in a roundy round car, but we're going to go back through it and make it shift normal, but make it like a performance unit where you can take it to the track or street or something like that. So, but anyway, he wants it shifting. But I got all the cool stuff set in here that we're going to be putting in here. Give you a general idea what we got. We got our gasket set here. We've got our bushing kit. We've got our adjustable modulator. I like the small body style like this. It's got a screw in it to where we can adjust it, the shift points and stuff. And we also got our high pressure rings. Now your overhaul kit will only come with metal rings, but I buy the high pressure rings, and it's a full ring kit, so it comes with all the rings that go on your accumulators and stuff like that. So if you got a part number here, if you can see it, 350.
There you go.
Now also, since this training here, you can only get 4 clutches in third gear. We always send about 15 of these pistons off at a time, your high gear piston, and have it shaved to where we can actually put 5 clutches in the third gear drum. So we just have it shaved here. We do about 10, 15 at a time when I take them over there. That way when he mocks it up, he can just knock them out really quick for me. So, but that's a must on a 350. Now we have our standard clutches here that come in this overhaul kit, our low reverse, our second gear here, our forward, and our third gear. Now, since second gear is such a massive clutch in a 350, you really don't need to do much to this at all because it's going to shift hard because of the clutch size. Now, the forward and the direct, you got 4 forward and you'll have 4 direct, okay? Now, since your forward clutch is just in idle, when you're idling, you put in gear, it's not under extreme load or anything like that, unless you're stuck in the mud and you're rocking it back and forth. But on your high gear clutch, it's gonna come on an extreme load. So if you're on the floor, drag racing or whatever like that. So we're gonna get in here and change the clutches that we're gonna be putting in here for high gear and your forward. Now you don't have to, you can leave these in here for forward, but these are definitely going in our high gear clutch, and you can see the difference in the material. Plus we're going to get 5 of these in here with that there. So pretty simple overhaul kit, but like I said, just get your clutches here. These are the best ones to use every time in third gear. We don't ever use these on any type of racing application.
You might want to move that ball.
Yeah, let me get this out of the way. Well, you notice Teresa's back in the house. She had her little Florida vacation, went down there and hung out with alligators and all that type of stuff, so had a good time, huh? Yeah. Awesome time. Like I said, I don't remember much about this training, so we're going to get it apart and just see what we got going on. Boy, that thing's stuck. Oh my gosh. Which it doesn't have to turn anyway. Of course, we grind the gear off of them like we always do.
Wow. What would cause that?
Now, no, that's normal. Well, it depends, because if you look at this, actually, it's not welded. So it makes you wonder if something got in there and did that. I'm not for sure on that part of it. We do it a lot of them that way, depending on if we're going to make them fully manual or not. That's your speedometer gear here. Of course, we don't have no speedometer gear here. Round to round track, you don't need them. But we'll put something back for him to give him something to work with. Your modulator off here. Now this modulator, this clip right here, it'll go 2 ways, but if you put it on the wrong way, you're going to be low pressure. But it's got little 4 fingers right there that sets in there, pushes it in. like this thing's got a lot of metal in the pan because everything is just stuck. Really hard to move. And we have our intermediate accumulator right here. There's a little hole right here you can put a punch in. Kind of go in there. You can get behind that clip. I didn't want to sling it out and get Teresa. She'd have been mad at me.
Let's go home earlier.
You can see here our accumulator spring is broke.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, now depending on what we're going to be doing, we're not going to, I mean, that spring right there creates a really firm second gear if you leave it out, especially if you leave your wave out in your second gear clutch too. So we like to play with this a lot right here. We'll put it in there after we do all of our modifications inside. If we don't think second gear is firm enough, we'll take that spring out. Make sure my bucket's in the way. Man, that's some pretty red fluid, huh? It looks like the pump bushing has moved forward, trying to come out of it. The front seal's missing. You can see that right there.
Yeah, you can see that.
Actually, I can take it out.
It's just going to come right on out of there because it did move when you touched it.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? We'll take it apart and see what we got. I'd say she's got a little bit of metal in it.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that really. But you just never know what the abuse these things are going through. Especially going around and round, round and round in a circle. I mean, the filter looks pretty clean, but we don't know if he's...
He changed it because that fluid's pretty red for that much metal in
Mm-hmm.
it. It had to be leaking from the front pump, didn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, I don't know what's going on here, but normally we block this. This has got a cable in here, but normally we pull this down and hold it. Not in passing gear. This is a two-stage spring valve right here. Soft here, stops, and then it gets really hard springy right there. Now we'll tie this down to where it just gets right here, stops, and back it up just a hair. Tie it down from here to this bolt. Especially if you're doing away with the detent cable. I tell you, these 350 parts are getting really hard to come by. Pumps, obsolete. I say we normally don't even take these jobs in unless we have a pump sitting here in the house, because we cannot get them. That's your little manual valve linkage here, little S piece. Sometimes you have to bend this right here out. That way this doesn't come out. You know, they kind of just float in here like this and it'll stop her. But sometimes this gets bent and this is just barely hanging in there and it can fall out. So, like I say, sometimes you have to get in and kind of spread that apart like that. So, pretty simple. Now, if we're going to make this a manual style transmission where it'll shift on its own but shift manually too, I'm going to show you a valve that we block or weld it shut where it doesn't move. If you got your valve body sitting down here like this valve right here that moves, we'll come in here and TIG weld it where it's solid and it don't move no more. Once you do that, this tranny will go into low gear to 100 miles an hour if you put the shifter in low gear. But it will not shift out until you move the shifter. You put it in low gear, it will not shift until you move the shifter. It will not move the shift a second until you move the shifter. So that's all you got to do. You can make a block plug or something put in here, but what we do is we just come in and TIG it to the casting right here. That way it doesn't move, and we're done with it. Now this accumulator piston here, we don't like leaving them empty like this. A lot of people just take the spring out and throw it away. We don't do that. We like the piston always to stand up and keep the keeper in. So what we do, we keep all of our 4th gear accumulator springs out of our 4L60Es. This won't affect the way this piston moves up and down, but it'll keep it up high enough where this retainer stays in here. Watch this. Try not to get you dirty, Teresa. Up. Plus I don't have my glasses on. Okay. See how that stays up? This little spring right here isn't enough to affect the performance of the tranny or anything like that, but it'll always keep that locked in there where that stays up. Keeps the keeper from falling off.
That'll be your unit because y'all do that.
I've seen things here that doesn't look like my unit, but it's hard to say. You know, we always put that bar in there. We do a lot of things.
We must have, yeah, this may not be like what you're thinking.
We do so many units. We've got hundreds of them out there for years and years. So you got your pressure regulator valve here. Got your spring. You got your boost valve and stuff in here. Got another one right there. Sets in there like that. You always want to make sure these are clean and move. Now this looks like to me it could be a shift kit spring being yellow. Most of the factory ones are blue looking color. So if you get a red one, it's definitely a shift kit. Pretty simple. Just remember to weld that valve if you're looking for a manual and an automatic capability tranny. So pretty simple. Now of course you can see this does have a shift kit plate on it. Oh, gasket's almost glued on there. Now, if you notice here, let's get this off here. This is a shift kit plate right here. If you're going to be working off of a stock plate and wanting to make this tranny shift firm and stuff, you can do it really easy. But if you look here, you have 2 holes here, this one and this one. Always drill these 2 out about the same size, just bigger than this one right here. You see how big this one is? Go ahead and drill this one the same size as this one. Just remember that. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is come in here. We're going to leave all the check balls out. We're going to leave this one out. We're going to leave this one out. And we're going to leave these 2 in. Really simple. They want you to do those modifications, and you got your spring in here, and you think second gear is a little soft, pull that spring out, and then it'll dang sure firm up second gear. Like I say, our ring kit comes with all the seals that go on here. So now your gasket set did come with metal ring kits, so you can use metal there too if you wanted to. Parking linkage. You can put a rubber check ball back in here. It works good too, either way. Yeah, I can already tell you it's not my unit. Because we don't build any round trannies with stock steel. We ain't built a 350 with stock steel rings in I can't remember when. We just, it's too easy to buy the high pressure ones and just put them in there. They don't cost much. So I don't think this is my unit. I think we're confused somewhere down the line. Now you do have your springs retainer here. Some of the 350s, they have the springs just fall off. The piston has dimples in it to hold the springs, and then the retainer sets down on there. This one here, the springs are made to the retainer. Pretty simple. Of course, we have a roller bearing here. Anytime we have a roller bearing style pump, you're going to have this washer right there, or this plastic ring right there. But all these here would be put back Teflon. But since we want third gear to shift a little firmer, we're going to leave this center ring off right here of these three. This one right here, we're going to get it out of there. And you're going to put it all back together with these two here, this one here, the middle one missing. Put it back together. Okay. Of course, we're going to look here. Of course, we know this was something I didn't want to see. Of course, the pump's just totally wiped out. Big old ruts down through here. You can see where the pump gears are just aching through there. You get in here, look at this pump, this body and gear, just look at the metal. Just grinded it. Now, this could be from converter failure. Look at that. But they can rebuild these, put bigger gears and all that type of stuff in here. But I don't know who's doing it anymore. And you can see here where the pump bushing started walking its way out. Could be broken flywheel. That pump bushing is white plumb out. If you notice here, it's a little bit better up here, but definitely wiped out on the bottom. So who knows? Unfortunately, this will be the last carry out that we do in the world. We will never do another carry out again. Period. Right, Teresa? Ain't happening. See if we can even get this thing apart. It didn't feel very good.
No, didn't look good.
I know every time I get one of these in here, it's just always a big job to get them back to where they need to be. Of course, you have your 3 second gear clutches. You can see here where the clutch is starting to flake off, just fall apart. But these clutches are massive to clutch for a 3-speed tranny. But you have your wave right here too. Never leave this wave out. If you leave this wave out, even in a trans brake application, this sprag right here is toast. Now you can buy an aftermarket TCI drum and put in here, which has got a bigger sprag and stuff in there, but we still leave the wave in no matter what, because it just shifts way too hard. You can make this tranny shift so hard that you'll close your eyes praying it didn't shift. I'm telling you. We got your engine brake band here. Pretty old too, just starting to fall apart. Of course, we have our 3rd gear drum. Of course, you can tell here it's been rubbing on the pump stator. And it's got it all chewed up. So that tells me here this bushing right here is probably toast. Now you can see here they only got a narrow bushing in here. Our bushing kit has a wide bushing that'll go all the way down to here. And it's like this wide. Stables this drum completely, keeps this from happening with a stator right here. This drum doesn't start rubbing here. And that's what happened. Stock sprag assembly. Anytime you turn your sprag and you hear it squeak, you know it's a roller clutch style. I mean, these will work pretty good as long as you don't make 2nd gear shift real hard. If you do, then you're going to break this drum probably. But it still takes a lot. There you go. We'll see this race break too. This thing will just snap in a couple pieces. Of course, you have your roller sprag here. Of course, we have our high gear drum. Now this is the drum that we're going to be putting the piston in that we had machined so we can get 5 clutches in here. You notice there's only 4. So that piston I was showing you earlier in the video, we save all these and we'll take this piston, ship it back next go around, have it shaved. We don't ever go back with 4. Have a roller bearing here. Now this is our forward drum here. You want to check your shaft here where the bushings wear here and here. There's 2 that run down in here and here. And then you always have a thrust washer that runs here and a bushing that runs here. So there's a lot of places you need to look at for wear on this forward drum. Of course, you can see here we have 5 clutches in forward. We still have a wave, which is okay. Now if you do a trans brake application, you can leave the wave out, big high stall converter or something, making, you know, you're trying to max the power out on this tranny. You can leave it out, but you can see it actually had some decent clutches in there. But once the pump went down, whatever happened, the tranny was toast. I'm hoping I can get this snap ring out right here. It looks like the drum was touching right down in here. So it could be messed up where I can't get it out. Actually, there's no snap ring. Oh my gosh.
There's not even a snap
There's
ring.
no snap ring at all. That's a...
Oh, wow.
Well, we don't have to worry about that part, do we?
No, you sure don't.
Wow. So there wasn't even a snap ring holding the planet and stuff on the shaft there, so...
Oh, wow.
But you can look here. This whole tranny's just wasted.
Yeah.
Thrust washers. You look here too, a bushing runs here.
That looked loose.
Yeah, you don't. I've never took one apart. Didn't have the snap ring on it.
That was pretty funny.
Well, if the case is good, that'll be a big plus. This 350 case is pretty tough to find too, and what we're going to be looking for down in here where the sprag assembly, the support down here locks in, and this looks really good. Really thick lugs, no wear at all, so that's a plus. Yeah, definitely. Look here. Of course, we have our low reverse clutch here. Got plenty of clutches there, 5 of them in there. Some of the pistons are taller and there's only 4. So you always want to change it out if it is. So you want to look at your planetary, make sure that your gears don't wobble or anything like that, put a new bushing. Now, on this one here, this ring gear right here, some of them will have a roller bearing down in here instead of putting a thrust washer. Okay, we're going to see if we can't find him one that way, put a bearing in here, and use the planet back in there. The planet will retrofit from a washer to a bearing, so there's no big deal there. But we definitely want to put a roller bearing in here. There's your bushing here too for your input shaft, right here. You always want to make sure that shaft's good because you're going to be putting a new bushing here. And then, of course, our lower sprag assembly here, of course, it's going to be a narrow. You can see here, got the little narrow sprag. Now we're going to go out in the trailer and find a 4L60E body that takes the wide sprag, put it in here. You can even use the race if the race is good in your wide sprag, even though it's a narrow. But you always want to check right here because they make 2 different heights right here and get the right height when you put a 4L60E in here, okay? Once you do that, it'll be fine. I mean, the 350 is really pretty simple, really, huh, Teresa? Teresa, believe it or not, you've built probably 4 or 5 of these when we lived over on Arthur Street, or on Taylor Street when I was sick, just got out of the hospital. Teresa built a few of these for me. But I'm telling you, anybody can do it, right, Teresa? Thumbs up? That's what I was thinking. Thank you, Teresa, definitely for recording. Guys, don't forget to go subscribe, push that like button, because believe me, we got a ton more to go. Have a great day.